Welcome to the Life After Sugar podcast, the podcast that's not just about sugar, but about your relationship with it and also with food and especially with yourself. So if you want to discover your life after sugar and hear inspiring stories from all kinds of people who also cut out sugar in their way, at their pace, for their own reasons, this is the podcast for you. Because when you take away the sugar, you can finally discover the real sweetness in your life. I'm your host, Netta Gorman. And in this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about the long-term benefits of living sugar-free. And this subject actually comes from a request from listeners of this podcast because it can seem pretty unimaginable what it can be like to live day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year, feeling free from cravings and free from the hold that sugar has on you. Which is why I wanted to make this short episode about the long-term benefits of my life after sugar. I'll tell you the details in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to tell you that if you're looking for some free resources about how to get rid of cravings, then I have plenty for you. First, download my 5 tips to get rid of cravings. And those 5 tips may not be what you think they are. So go to aftersugarclub.com and download your 5 tips today. And come check out the Life After Sugar Facebook page and subscribe to the Life After Sugar YouTube channel, as well as my Instagram account at My Life After Sugar, which is where you'll get all kinds of inspiration so that you can see that it's perfectly possible to live a happy and active life even if you don't eat sugar. You can also check out my TikTok account at Netta_lifeaftersugar. Okay, so let's talk about the long-term benefits of living sugar-free. And I just wanted to clarify that when I say sugar-free, for me personally, that includes added and refined sugar, refined grains or flour, and also nut flours for me, and sweeteners. Not just artificial sweeteners, but also natural sweeteners like stevia, fruit juice, and dried fruit. And that's just me. So I want to make it perfectly clear that what sugar-free means for me doesn't necessarily have to be the same for you. In my humble opinion, there's no right or wrong way to live sugar-free. It's actually not so much about the sugar bit as the free bit. And I don't mean free as in not costing anything. I mean free as in feeling free. Because if you're anything like me, you may be feeling that sugar has this hold on you, and that's what you want to be free of. And when I talk about long-term benefits, what I mean by long-term is also open to interpretation. Maybe in the diet mentality, we tend to look at some sort of time frame or deadline or some kind of goal that includes a certain number of days or weeks or months to lose a certain number of pounds. Well, if you've listened to this podcast before, you probably know that I don't follow the diet mentality. In fact, it really annoys me, partly because I don't like following all these random rules. So what does long-term mean for me? There's actually no timeline about it for me. In other words, long-term doesn't begin after a certain number of days or weeks or months or years. There's no deadline or time limit or point at which you say, oh, okay, this is short-term, but from now it's long-term. Because this isn't about counting the number of days. It's about how you feel. And what I mean by long-term is actually, for me at least, about how I want to live my life feeling like I feel now. So I'm going to describe to you how I feel now and how I've been feeling since July 2015. And if the last almost 9 years seems like long term to you, then it is. But it doesn't feel long term to me. In other words, it doesn't feel like there's any kind of sell-by date on feeling good. Does that make sense? I feel like long term is an expression that I'm borrowing to make it clearer that this isn't a quick fix or a temporary hack, after which I would go back to, air quote, normal eating. This is my new normal, and I want to feel good for the rest of my life. And if that's considered long term, then so be it. So how do I feel? What are the benefits that I've experienced since I cut sugar, flour, and sweeteners? Well, we often hear or read about all the terrible consequences of consuming too much sugar, and yes, they're all true. But because I'm generally a glass half full, optimistic type of person, I want to share with you some of the positive effects that reducing sugar, or I should say sugars in the plural, has had on me. The first one is way more energy, and it's the type of energy that gives me this enthusiasm for life. It makes me want to try new things, discover new places, have new and exciting experiences. I don't necessarily want to run a marathon, although I suppose I could if I really wanted to. But this type of energy has helped me rekindle my love for dancing, for example. And believe me, I can hold my own on the dance floor, and I can salsa dance for 4 or 5 hours straight, even though I'm in my 50s. But this type of energy that I'm talking about is not just physical energy, where I can get through the day without any energy slumps, which I certainly couldn't do when I was still eating sugar. No, it's more of an energy that's to do with my outlook on life. It's a zest for life, an interest in what's coming next, if you will. That doesn't mean that it's all a walk in the park in my life all the time. Believe me, it's not. I have my ups and downs just like anyone else. But at least I'm not dealing with the negative side effects of sugar, so I've got more energy to concentrate on other things in life. And that in itself makes me feel 20 years younger. I want to take a quick break to say that if this is your first time here, then welcome and thank you for listening to this podcast. And whether you're new or a regular and you haven't yet rated or reviewed this podcast, could I ask you to scroll down and tap on the stars to rate this podcast and also to write a short review to let me know how this podcast is helping you in your life after sugar. Here's a review from Joanie in the United States who says, "Always spot on. I've been listening to Netta for a while now, and I love that there's something in every episode where she seems to be talking directly to me. Every episode I find some pearl of wisdom or validation that I need to hear. My journey to give up sugar is slow, and I'm so thankful to be able to pop on Netta's voice whenever I need to be encouraged to carry on." Thank you, Joanie. And when you rate and review this podcast, not only does it encourage me to continue making new episodes, but it also helps to share this podcast and have more people see it so that we can help more people feel better and lose weight with less sugar. So again, thank you for rating and reviewing this podcast and for spreading the word about sugar. Okay, so what other long-term benefits have I experienced over the last almost 9 years of being sugar-free. And again, by sugar-free, I mean free from cravings as well as free from added and refined sugars, including refined grains, in other words, flour, even nut flours, and sweeteners, whether they're artificial sweeteners or natural sweeteners. Well, one of the main things that I've experienced is zero cravings. Yeah, zero cravings. I mean, I used to completely lose control when I had cravings. I just could not fight them. And they were usually for chocolatey things, so I'd give in to them because I just love chocolate. And I also used to believe that cravings were just a normal part of life, a normal part of being a woman, and a normal part of PMS as well. I just thought that cravings were something that I'd have to learn to live with. It didn't even cross my mind that I could get rid of cravings. But my cravings did go away. And imagine how peaceful it is not to have this monkey brain going crazy, being obsessed with how I'm going to get my next snack, my next fix, really, which of course for me would always be something sugary or chocolatey. So one of the really, really amazing long-term benefits for me has been that peace of mind, that freedom from cravings. It's wonderful. And I know that if it's possible for me, it's possible for you. How do I know? Because I've experienced it and I've helped other women to experience this freedom from cravings long term over the last few years in my program. It's not magic. It's, well, human biology, actually. But it took a while for me to figure out not just how to get rid of my cravings, but how to keep them at bay long term, which is why I decided to help others get to that peace of mind and freedom from cravings as well. Other long-term benefits that I've experienced are weight loss, or more specifically, fat loss in all the strategic places like my midsection, hips, and love handles. They kind of just melted away. I was amazed. Also, no more cellulite. Who'd have believed? And also better concentration, better mental clarity, and better digestion, where nothing else, not even more fibre, had worked before. And ever since I stopped sugar and flour, I've had way less stiffness in my joints, so more supple joint movements, which helps when you're salsa dancing, and also less swelling because the inflammation in my body went way down. I also used to have frequent headaches, and they pretty much went away. And my mood stabilized, and my skin is so much clearer and more glowing now. And I get lots of compliments on my complexion and even my hair. And deeper than that, I've learned to develop a more healthy relationship with food, and I see it now as a delicious and fun way to nourish myself and even to express my creativity instead of seeing food as the enemy or as some kind of calculation of macros and calories. I actually enjoy my food now. Plus, my blood work is great, my fasting insulin is good, and even though I'm 54 now and I've had some symptoms of perimenopause, I haven't suffered that much. And whether or not that's actually due to being sugar-free, I'm still grateful for that. I also feel more confident as a consumer at the grocery store because I know where to find real whole foods, and I don't have to waste time reading labels because the foods that I buy, well, most of them don't even have labels. Plus, I feel far more confident when I'm out and about, either traveling or for outings or at family functions or at work or any social situation, because I no longer feel under pressure to eat, air quotes, normally. I've invented my new normal, which really isn't new anymore, and I don't feel like I have to hide it or justify anything. And as you can tell with this podcast, I'm totally public about being sugar-free because I'm not ashamed of it. In fact, I'm proud of it. And I'm proud of the positive influence that this podcast is having on you. And as a result, I have better self-esteem because all these benefits make me feel so great. And as I said at the beginning of this episode, feeling great is important to me, and that's how I want to feel for as long as possible for the rest of my life. And so you can consider that to be the biggest long-term benefit of living my life after sugar. And if this episode has inspired you to start living your life after sugar, especially to get rid of cravings and slim down and finally feel in control around food, then that's exactly what you'll get in the Freedom from Cravings Formula 90-day program. It's a program that's specifically designed for women over 50 who want to get rid of cravings and live the long-term benefits of a sugar-free life sustainably. In the program, you'll get step-by-step guidance and customized support through the 5-step formula that I've developed to help you get control over cravings so that you can finally live your life with more energy and fit into your favorite clothes effortlessly and feel confident in your food choices so that you can ditch the shame and embarrassment that you feel every time your emotions make you slip or fall off the wagon, and so that you never feel like you're on some kind of a restrictive diet. If you're at the stage of your life where you're finally ready to invest in yourself after all these years of taking care of others, let's chat. You can hop on a free clarity call with me at any time by going to aftersugarclub.com and clicking on the big green button, Schedule a Clarity Call. We'll have a quick 30-minute one-on-one chat to see if the Freedom from Cravings Formula 90-day program is a good fit for you. So go to aftersugarclub.com. Speak soon. That's it for this week. Keep in touch and see you soon for another episode.